you don't know, a lifestyle business is a business that exists to fund your lifestyle. An empire is a business that exists to build a business, and your lifestyle is sacrificed for that. Microsoft is a good example. Bill Gates slept on his couch from 20 till 30. Ted Turner did the same thing to build CNN. Gary Vee works 16, 17 hours a day. Elon Musk works about the same. That's an empire. Reasons are, number one, lifestyle business is easier. Business already has a 90% failure rate. When you build a lifestyle business around a high-ticket service, your chances of success go up because there's no employees, there's no payroll. So there's less cash leaking out, which means you can stay in business longer. And businesses don't really fail, they just run out of money. When you're going hard in a lifestyle business, it's hard to run out of money, okay? Because your expenses are an internet connection and a few other things. I mean, I might pay out $200 a month in expenses. It's nothing. Number two, it's more pleasant. Okay, building an empire a lot of time is reinventing the wheel. It's not being profitable right away. It's gambling with investment. You might need debt. You might need to go get investors. Oftentimes you're not profitable from day one. Lifestyle business, you're profitable from your first customer, okay? From the first personal training client you sell for $100, right? Which can be the first week that you're in business, okay? It's more pleasant, it's easier. Number three, okay, it's easier to stay in business. It's more sustainable because you don't have overhead, you don't have an office, you don't have inventory, you don't have payroll. Those are what kill most businesses. All those expenses. All right. In a lifestyle business, number four, your margins are higher for those very same reasons. It's not uncommon for margins in a lifestyle business to be anywhere from 80 to 95%. We're talking about, you know, real estate, insurance, selling marketing, selling sales training, selling coaching, like I do. It can also include personal training, any type of coaching. You know, we're talking about 80 to 95% margins. I'll have to go and recalculate mine. It's part of my to-do list, but we're talking in my business 90%, probably about 93% now. Crazy margins. It's so much easier to sustain a business that's high margin, okay? Whereas something like software, something like Walmart, margins might be 4%. You know, Amazon lost money for a decade because they would reinvest the money back into the business and in cutting costs so that they could destroy all their competitors, because they had a large war chest, they had a lot of investors, so they could afford to do that. Their investors had a long timeline, okay? So they're able to run the business at razor thin margins, which worked well for Amazon, but for most businesses, if you're having to operate on razor thin margins and you don't have billions in investment, it's a matter of time before you have a couple bad months. You know, then you got to go out on tour to the banks trying to get more money. Stress levels are higher, and that's just a much harder business to sustain. Which brings me to point number 5. It's less stressful, okay? 90% of business stress comes from employees. I hate having employees. I hate managing people, just like I hated having colleagues, okay? Because they do dumb shit all the time that you wouldn't do. And to get people to do things the way that you want, you really have to spoon feed everything and dial everything into what I call the McDonald's system. McDonald's works because there's absolutely no room for employees to think. Everything's just built into the process, okay? That might sound a little bit harsh, it might sound a little bit ruthless, but if you're an entrepreneur, you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about, okay? It's a constant source of stress. Not to mention the fact that, you know, a lot of the people that you're gonna have to hire are gonna be millennials, right? These are people who stay at a job for 3 to 6 months, you know? Every 3 months, someone's gonna be quitting or getting fired. If you're at the, you know, anywhere from 2 to 10 employee range, right? So the second you stop training somebody, that person might have to be fired, or someone else is gonna have to be fired. Or quit, okay? Even if you're a really good boss, you're a good manager, people are still gonna quit. Especially in this day and age, you know? And all that's gonna affect you. You know, I had a client of mine who was making 6 figures a month take home, taking home more than 100 grand a month. But there'd be months where all he's doing is putting out fires with employees who are throwing temper tantrums or quitting, okay? This is a guy who's making an absolute fortune, whose time is incredibly profitable. But because he's looking to build an empire, and I'm confident that he will build, you know, he is building that empire, he's forced to spend you know, his time placating employees on petty dramas, on, you know, having to go through the hiring process to find someone else, okay, because the people in charge of hiring aren't doing their job. This only changes, a lot of people don't know this, there's a hell zone for stress, okay, in terms of building an empire. And in my opinion, it's in that 4 to 15 employee range, okay? 4 to 15 employees. That's the range where you're constantly dealing with employee problems. Got another client of mine who owns a bank. Okay, he's got 50 employees. He's past that problem because he's got COOs, CFOs, team leaders, VPs, right? So he's not involved in the day-to-day of some girl fired or some girl quit. He doesn't even know about it. Or he might know about it, but it's not a huge issue, okay? And he's not gonna have to get on the phone or do the Craigslist ad or do the Facebook ad to find someone else new. He's above the fray, okay? So there is a lot of benefits to building an empire, but it's only after you eat dick for a decade. It's only after, you know, 7 years of taking on enormous stress and succeeding, beating the odds, you know, having to beat greater odds than if it was an empire, or sorry, a lifestyle business, okay? You know, you have to get to that 30-person range, and then sometimes that's not even always the case because, you know, your business is in a lot of debt, or, you know, you burn through a lot of investor money. You know, there's businesses where they're making $70 million a year, but they're losing money, and their investors are on top of them, and the banks are on top of them, and they're enslaved to that business, and those guys are making less than I do, okay? Because, you know, all they're getting is their $200,000 a year salary. They're never gonna get equity on that, or their equity's never gonna pay off because the business is never gonna be able to be sold, right? So a lot of guys build these empires, and they would have made way more just starting a service business that they made, you know, 600 first year, 6 figures, and then 200, and then 300, and then 400. You know, over the course of a decade, getting that up to, you know, 500 grand or whatever. Then they would taking that giant shot at the big winner. Okay, I'll use an example from the tech startup I was in. I was in a tech startup, and we were in what's called an incubator with a bunch of other tech companies. None of those tech companies succeeded. One of those companies got bought out for $500,000. Okay, which is garbage once you take off the tax they had to pay on that, and the fact that it took those guys 3 years to get that acqui-hire. And by acqui-hire, I mean the company was literally bought out because they wanted some of the source code and the Rockstar developer. Okay, so it's like those guys made, like, you know, if you taking off the taxes and you include 3 years of their time, it was like they're coming out of that deal with like total 60, 70 grand a year, when they should have been making way more, because this Rockstar developer, you know, could have gone into a programming business or a programming consulting business and you know, been making 100, 150, 200, 300 grand a year as he scales up. You know, you could have done anything. So the stress level is way higher in building an empire. Okay, and you know, that's the reality of this thing. The lifestyle business is where it's at. Now, there are some downsides to a lifestyle business. In general, there's less money on the table. Okay, the big money is in these sort of low margin, huge volume businesses, the Amazons, you know, these types of businesses. So